I'd like to welcome all our viewers to a new season of Life on Bophelong, your weekly program that shines the spotlight on South Africans who show us that indeed no challenge is insurmountable. My name is Rufio Wemwilwa and I will be your host. Today's program is dedicated to the matriculants of 2014. Since the results announcement earlier this week, there's been a media frenzy surrounding the learners for many different reasons. Last year marked the completion of the implementation of the Curriculum Assessment Policy Statement, or CAPS, with the 2014 matric class being the first to write this exam for their National Senior Certificate. With plenty uncertainties from educators and learners alike. In a sense then, the class of 2014 are all winners despite the obstacles the system posed. Our producer Nombuso Mahlangu spoke to the principal of Eqinisweni Secondary School, Mr. Jabu Kunene.
And then for 880,
changes introduced by the Curriculum and Assessment Policy Statement, or CAPS curriculum, were a possible factor in the 2014 matric pass rate being lower than 2013's, according to reports by the National Teachers Union. While it is important to understand that CAPS is not a new curriculum entirely, it came with very specific changes to the education system.
The CAPS curriculum, it's a new curriculum which the grade 12s for 2014. It was the first group of learners that have actually set for the CAPS in the year 2004. So basically, as a school, right, as anything that is new, right, more especially in grade 12, we did not find any problem with the CAPS. The only thing that is that everything that is new, obviously there will be some hiccups. In some of the learning areas, there were some topics that were added. And then also the degree in terms of the difficulty of questions during the examination, which we have experienced it now. I think educators will actually capture it and then know what approach to take during the lesson to fully prepare those learners who are coming for the grade 12 in the year 2015.
Another factor was how matriculants prepared for exams. Using old exam papers would have not been much help for some subjects, and the structure of the exam papers was different. After a 2-year process to implement the changes from foundation, then intermediate and senior school phase, the class of 2014 are all winners, and even more so, those who triumphed against the odds. We'd like to know your views on the CAPS curriculum, good or bad. Share your views with us on Bophelong at sabc.co.za. In our next story, producer Zibu Ramabulana journeyed to the remote village of Lwamondo in Limpopo to meet a tenacious and feisty young learner by the name of Aveane Maitakole, who came out amongst the top achievers in quintile 2. And every day she lives up to the age-old adage that dynamite does come in small packages.
I had to pass through streams and flooding to the extent that my new shoes even tore open because I was passing through rivers.
Her small stature didn't make her transit to school any easier.
I went to school from Monday to Saturday at Makakabare Secondary School. Then on Sunday I would go to extra lessons. I would never be absent.
For Aveane Maitakole, this was her daily bread. Born in the remote village of Lwamondo in Limpopo, poverty is all she knows.
It really hurt to hear her talk about how she would get to school wet and her books were wet. I walked to school barefoot and even had stones piercing my feet, but it was the only way to pave a future for myself.
Battling to make ends meet, Aveane's mother had no choice but to leave Lwamondo and find work more than 300 kilometers away, leaving the little girl in the care of her grandmother.
To live without a mother and losing my father was a challenge in my life because I wasn't living with my parents, meaning that if they want to motivate, guide or comfort me, I would first have to phone her or ask for money to phone her, and speaking to someone on the phone isn't the same as having her close by.
It's really difficult raising a child as a single parent when the father is no longer there. It's not easy at all, but I told myself that circumstances will not stop us from going somewhere in life.
But Abayani's disadvantaged background didn't get in the way of making her family and South Africa proud.
In second place, Abayani Maitakore, Makakavale Secondary, Limpopo.
Minister of Education.
I felt that my dreams came true. I really worked hard to the extent that the Minister of Education felt that I was suited to be awarded by her in person.
Many of them come from underprivileged families, and you find that they don't have food and walk to school barefoot or have no uniform. That is why many of them work hard, because they know what poverty is.
After months of dedication and perseverance, Abayani Maitakore made history as one of South Africa's best performing matriculants of 2014, attaining 7 distinctions.
I might not come from a privileged family and still cook on top of a fire and still go to the river and get water from the stream, but I am motivated by the fact that I can change the situation. We went through many struggles. I grew up without my father. I was raised by a single parent. As a child, I went through the phase of not having a father. I lived through it, but it encouraged me to make sure that wherever my father is, he is proud of me.
Abayani's story is the essence of the reality of a bulk of South African learners. As Oprah said, you can come from nothing, have nothing, and still become everything you dream.
Stay tuned. After the ad break, we bring you more stories of perseverance and prosperity despite the challenges that life sometimes brings. This is Bophelong.
Type 1 diabetes happens when your pancreas stops working, so the body does not get insulin anymore.
I have diabetes. My life is changed. I was in a total state.
Too much food, too little exercise. That's what it's about.
Hot flushes. So you would start with lifestyle modification, wearing cotton clothing, eating right, etc. And then hormone treatment for hot flushes.
Join me on Health Talk every Saturday morning between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. as we unpack current health stories.
Didier Drogba, a footballer from Ivory Coast, was named as the third most influential celebrity in Africa.
Where I saw him display, he's a very nice player. He always make an impact.
Drogba donated his $5 million endorsement fee to the construction of a hospital in Abidjan.
Well, there are some lesser-known football stars in the continent that you haven't met.
Really?
And are deserving of more attention.
I think we will do better.
The Journal, every Saturday at 1:30 on SABC News.
A grandmother in Hector Spruit in Mpumalanga has made an impassioned plea for her 2 grandchildren.
13-year-old Tulani Dlamini and 21-year-old Hlonipile Filani were taken
away by a stranger who allegedly promised them better education in England. But the 2 recently called their grandmother. They told her they're in Malawi.
It's 100 years since the start of the Great War, and today 14 South African World War I heroes, all recipients of the Victoria Cross, were honoured.
The Ring of Memory carries the names of 600,000 soldiers who died in the region.
Primetime News, daily at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back to Bophelong. In today's show, we're recognizing the accomplishments of some top achievers of the class of 2014. Later in studio, I'll be joined by 17-year-old Tiselane Mpangane, a bright young lady who was disappointed that she did not get 100% for physical science because, well, she just got 98%. While we certainly cannot profile them all, here are some of the students from different parts of the country who prove that impossible is a word that should not even be in the English dictionary. A special mention goes to the family of Thulane Bukali. The 18-year-old wrote his exams in hospital, and unfortunately he died of cancer 4 days before the results were released.
This is Tato Mahogodi. She is 17 years old and lives in the rural village in the Moses Kotane local municipality in the Northwest Province. This week, she stood tall amongst her peers, having scored 7 distinctions in the 2014 matric results. The achievements of the 17-year-old from J.M. Ntsime High School had the education authorities crowing in praise. The ceremony to announce the 2014 matric results was permitted by an air of joviality by all those involved in the matric examinations: parents, teachers, learners, and education authorities. About 26,000 learners sat for the examinations, and 48 schools obtained a 100% pass rate. The province could not have been more happier at this achievement. But Tato was the toast of the province. Tato, who is the daughter of a single parent, who is a casual worker, had to travel almost 80 kilometers to get to school. But her achievements have defied her odds. She obtained 3 80% and 4 90% in, amongst others, mathematics and accounting.
I'm a very determined child. I've always loved school. I love education, and I believe that nothing should stand in your way if you see yourself in the future doing something great. So I just carried on and I never gave up. Though the circumstances I faced were challenging, I love challenges. So I was like, yeah, man, bring it on. I can do it.
Tato's achievements has left a big smile and a sigh of relief for her mom. She says Tato is her pride.
I struggled a lot raising Tato, working as a casual, but I never gave up. I worked hard for my daughter to get to where she is. I am very happy.
The headmaster of J.M. Ntsime High School has described Tato as a hard worker.
Educators will always identify those learners from rural areas, and you always make it a point, when they are given assignments and for reference, they must use our IT center. They should not be left out, especially those learners who are motivated, that the IT center becomes available to them and they use it. They use it correctly. But they've always done that. When they are given projects, they are given assignments, with the motivation that I give to my teachers that support these learners, give them what it takes for them to give us the best of the best.
Although Tato has already secured a bursary, it does not cover all her needs.
Meet Chayesa Makubele. She's passed matric with 6 distinctions. She and her sister swapped a town school for a village school. Persuaded by their teacher father, who had just joined the then poorly performing school.
As I was paging through the newspaper, the suspense was building and building and building. And it came to a point where I couldn't look anymore. I walked away, and my dad was actually looking for my name, my student number actually. And so when he got the results, he started by, he knew my student number ends with 0027. And as he was looking Zibuko Senior Secondary School, I heard him start counting. 1, he was counting my distinctions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I remember just crying hysterically and hugging every stranger that was on the street and saying and saying thank you to everyone that was just randomly passing by. And it was I'm sure it was very weird for them, but I was very happy.
The previous year, Chayesa's elder sister got 7 distinctions.
The only thing that you have to do is to be committed, remain focused. You must know what you want in life. You must invite your future, look at it, smile at it, and say, go, I'm coming there. And you work very hard. Remain committed, remain focused throughout the year. Nothing financially. I'm staying here in Tzaneen, yes, it's true, but actually I don't have money. So the government is giving us even food to eat during breaks. So go there and eat this rich food. I will be teaching you there. You will excel. And it did happen.
Makubele says pupils at Zivuku were reluctant to take maths when he arrived at the school. This has since changed. The school obtained an overall 79% pass rate. As for the Makubeles, they are preparing for a big feast over the weekend to celebrate and to bid farewell to Chayese, who's going to study medicine at the University of Cape Town.
An inspiring story of a matriculant from Ivory Park who beat the odds and wrote his matric in hospital. Thulani Bukali is one of the grade 12 pupils from Eqinisweni Secondary School. His dream was to become a music DJ and an IT specialist. The 18-year-old was diagnosed with cancer in 2013 while doing grade 11.
He fought while he was taking chemo. He was very weak. He couldn't walk. Yeah, some papers, 2 of them, he wrote them at the hospital as he was very weak. And then some of the papers, he wrote them at school.
The 18-year-old knew he was dying, but insisted on sitting for all 6 of his subjects. While in hospital, his mother says Thulani would wake her up.
He will call me around 6 o'clock and say, Mom, I don't see nobody's phoning me to say they are coming. Are they still coming? I'm ready. I've bathed. I ate my lunch already, because he had to ask the nurses that you need to prepare me quickly because the people from school, they're coming to prepare me to write my exam.
His teacher transported him.
Ma'am, even if I can be how sick, I just want to see myself writing the examination because I want to pass.
When he wrote his English paper, a day after being discharged from hospital,
I was told that I should give him 15 minutes break for every 1 hour, of which he wrote through.
Thulani lost his fight against cancer on the last day of 2014. A bittersweet pill to swallow for his mom when his matric results came. To his peers, Thulani was a role model and a hero.
He was dedicated, and then even though he was sick, you wouldn't know because he was always at school.
Pupils were urged to follow in Thulani's footsteps and make education a priority in their lives. Thulani was laid to rest on Wednesday, January 7th. Sibongile Mganimpolweni, SABC News.
Even with the rigorous treatment of chemotherapy and radiation during the 16 months that cancer attacked his body, 18-year-old Thulani did not give up, and his dream of passing his matric was realized. He was laid to rest earlier this week. May his soul rest in peace.
Month-long strike at the post office is officially over for now.
Workers have indicated to us that we must proceed with a dispute, and we must lead them in the next industrial strike if it comes to that particular point. They felt betrayed by the intervention of our government through the minister, because that intervention simply backstab workers.
A sophisticated network of illegal cigarette smugglers spread out across southern Africa. Many of the dodgy smokes land up here in South Africa. Is it this simple that you know that you're probably smoking an illegal cigarette if it's ridiculously cheap?
It starts with consumers. So if you buy cheap cigarettes, you're not buying a bargain.
That's Business News, weekdays at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Guinea is reopening an Ebola clinic in its remote southeast in an effort to prevent sick nationals seeking better treatment elsewhere.
The new labor law also seeks to clamp down on violent strikes by holding a trade union liable for violence committed by its members during a strike.
The new canal is set to boost annual revenues to about $13 billion by 2023. It's part of a larger project to expand port and shipping facilities around the canal.
This is Vigigas's fourth victory on the PGA Tour.
That's all the weather that I have for you for now. Stay tuned.
For all your business news, catch news at 1 every day. Be informed.
If you've just tuned in, welcome to the last stretch of Bophelong, where ordinary South Africans persevere despite life's challenges. My guest in studio is a focused young lady who did not allow hardship to distract her from the all-too-important matric year. Diselane Mpangane passed with an applause-worthy 7 A's, one of them for a 98% pass for physical science. With dogged determination, taking 2 taxi rides each way daily to get to school, and a struggle for resources like textbooks and the internet, she's a great example of precisely what this show is all about. Diselane, welcome to Bophelong. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations. I mean, 7 A's.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about this 98% issue. I mean, amazing result, and you weren't happy.
I wasn't happy. I was very disappointed because it wasn't actually my goal to get 98%, but I was aiming for 100%. So I was quite disappointed to see that I wasn't able to meet my goal.
Oh, wow. Congratulations all the same. It's still a great result, but clearly you are a perfectionist. So let's talk about, 2014, your matric year, just some of the things you went through and how you prepared for the exams.
It wasn't an easy year and it wasn't an easy matric. Sometimes you find that when I have to study at night, the electricity will go, and then I'll have to use a candle to study. And sometimes at Ivory, where I stay, it's very noisy, so you find that I'm not able to concentrate. You find that it is very noisy for me to be able to study and concentrate. So basically, those were some of the challenges that I have to face. But then, and also the lack of resources. But then I had a help from Inkamva. I was attending Inkamva every Tuesdays and Thursdays as well as Saturdays. So I had help with resources and textbook, and also there is a mentorship which is called Eureka. So they also provide mentorship. So they were able to give me that guidance and to strengthen me throughout the year.
Yeah.
And
all right,
also,
great. So are these only in Ivory Park, by the way?
Yes, it's only in Ivory Park.
Okay,
yes.
Great that you had that kind of support. And though you were, you live quite far from school.
Yes.
2 taxis every day each way. I'm sure you had to be up at the crack of dawn. Did that not make you feel sometimes like you just want to give up?
Yeah, it sometimes did. It sometimes did because you find that I only sleep for 2 hours, and when I wake up, I have a headache, and still I have to prepare and go to school. So sometimes I'll think of not going to school because I'll be very tired. But still, I was determined to make it a success. So yeah.
Oh, wow. You're such an inspiration. Before we continue with the interview, let's take a look at commentary from one of Diselane's teachers, Mr. Enoch Shishenge.
Diselane is one of the most powerful and brilliant kind of a personality that I have ever actually come across since I started teaching at this particular school. I can actually attach her to a quite number of things that make me to say that. In terms of her dealing with actually academic work, she was very precise in terms of doing her homeworks, in terms of being ahead with of these other learners.
Thank you very much to Mr. Shishenge, who made his time available to us. So, Tisalane, what do you think about what he said about you?
I was quite surprised because I didn't really see myself as a powerful and brilliant student. I was only seeing myself as a hard worker who is determined to reach her goals. So I was quite shocked and very pleased to hear that the teachers at our school, they see me as being powerful and as being brilliant. So it's quite an honor to hear that.
You definitely are, so please believe it, all right? Despite traveling hardships, what other, challenges do you think that the youth in your area, or even just, youth from the township and other disadvantaged communities face that perhaps adults and, other people don't understand?
I think it's motivation. Because in order for you to be driven in order to success and get and reach those goals, you need to have motivation. So the lack of motivation sometimes discourages matriculants to actually work very hard and reach their goals. So I think it's motivation, because motivation goes a long way, and it has to be constant motivation so that the person can feel driven to achieve their goal.
Okay, so where do you draw that sense of motivation and inspiration from?
Well, I draw it from many things. I draw it from reading the Word of God and praying. I get it from my supportive family, my mom, my grandmother, everybody whom I was staying with. I also get it from the Eureka Mentorship Program. I get it from the teachers at our school. The teachers at Ekunisweni Secondary School, they were always motivating us, and they were always giving us guidance, as well as Nkamva. It was also motivating us to be the best that we can be.
Awesome support system that you had there. And some great news, you were awarded 2 bursaries. So you have 2 bursaries sitting on your lap, and you have to choose. What is it that you think you will do this year and going forward?
I was thinking of doing medicine because I can see that I have a lot of passion for it. Ever since I was in primary school, I've always dreamed of doing medicine. So I think I'll be going for medicine.
Wow. Awesome, Tisalane. Thank you so very much for coming through today. You are an inspiration, and we will be looking forward to hearing about Dr. Mpangane in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to my guest, Tisalane Mpangane, and all our matric newsmakers on the show. Just to end off, some food for thought. In the words of Ray Davis, remember, a challenge only becomes an obstacle when you bow to it. You can get in touch by sending through your comments on our Twitter page, or you can email us on bophelong@sabc.co.za, as you see on your screen. Thank you very much for joining us today on Bophelong, and join me again. The name is Rufio Wemwidwa, next week, same time and place.
Good evening and welcome to yet another edition of Sports Live, the show that brings you the latest local and international news, live interviews with the who's who in sport. He's the first South African to wear a yellow jersey that was at the Tour de France this year.
It's the first time that we get a boxer who's recognized by the Ring magazine as the best fighter in the planet to visit our country.
And he's very close to world record pace. And in fact, it is a new world record.
When you cross the line, what went through one's mind?
None of the 4 of us knew who had won. The scoreboard is always on the left, but all of us tend to the right. No, we just waited for the country to go down. RSA.
That's Sports Live, daily at 8:30 p.m. on SABC News.